Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. All right. Looks like I think we're good to go here. Hello everybody, and apologies for being late, but I had a meeting that was running a bit late. So okay, if we can all please let me know if you can hear me okay. And I'm asking for all three of the different services, 3 or 4. I don't know if Mixer is still going, but can everybody hear me on Twitch and on YouTube and also on Facebook? So if you guys could just let me know. Okay. Aridaxia, thank you. Great. So Twitch is a go, and YouTube is Bala. Can you hear me? I guess you can hear me. Whoa, get back here. There we go. All right, so Bala, Kiran, can you hear me on YouTube? I just want to make sure. I think if you can hear me on Twitch and on YouTube, I think Facebook is a go-to. All right, let's see here. Okay, so I'm not getting any. Hopefully I am on, you guys can hear me on YouTube. I'll go ahead and kind of kick it off, and if you guys can't hear me, I'm sure somebody will complain, I guess. So first things first, let's talk about what's going on here. This is I think this is the 6th or 7th. I think it's the 7th one of these streams in this season, and we are making a spaceship for those of you that haven't been following along, and you can find the previous editions of this if you want to kind of watch to this point. You can, and those are available on multiple locations. So the first one is on ZBrushLive.com, and if you go to presenters, right, so presenters over here, which will show you a bunch of great presenters that have streams, and you can find me. When you click on my name here at the bottom, you can see all the previous streams. So I think, yeah, 1 2 3 4 5. I guess this is the 6th one. All right, so I was wrong. So this is the 6th one, and this one is probably going to run till 10. Because I'm running a bit late. I've been pretty busy with work lately, so I haven't been able to pay as much attention to this as I'd like. But the good news is that I'll be, doing more on screen, I guess, than off screen, which is good for you guys, so you can see all the different things that I'm doing. And then also, you can kind of follow through. So anyway, the whole point is that we're trying to get to the end of modeling this, and then after modeling it, we're going to start painting it and putting some logos and text and maybe creating some lights and whatnot on it. And then when we're done with that, we're going to take it into Keyshot. I've been working on some backgrounds in Photoshop. I'll show you those. I did have time to spend there. So here, if I can bring Photoshop over, you can see that I have been working on some space. Cancel this. Come on. You can see I'm working on some nebula type space things and trying to figure out some nice backgrounds to put the spaceship in. Of course, I'm going to be lighting it with Keyshot, but I'm just going to have some backgrounds here. So this is another one I worked on. And I think here's another one that's kind of coming together. And I also did kind of just a simple Starscape like this. If you guys are interested, let me know in the chat, and I'll show you guys how I make these. I mean, obviously it's not in ZBrush, it's in Photoshop. but you can use these as backdrops to Keyshot, or you can also use them as backdrops in ZBrush itself as well. Okay, so if you guys have questions, please ask away in the chat. I will stop every once in a while and check and make sure that that I am answering all your questions. So real quick, everybody can hear me. The volume is okay. I don't need to speak louder, or am I speaking too loud? If somebody could let me know from Twitch and from YouTube, that would be awesome. And here you can see I did make some extra changes to this. I don't know why, but I thought the front looked too small, right? So we basically have two parts of the spaceship. There's the front part, which is just this, right? And yeah, I guess I added these pieces to the front part. Let me move them over real quick so they're in the right place. So here I need to make this a little bit longer. And let's move these, actually, if I just move them up out of here. Did I move the right thing? Nope, this one. All right, let's see. This one can move over into this one, to the back part. So then it should get hidden. And I think I might have one more that I inadvertently put into the innards, which I didn't want to do. This one, I'll move that to back as well. All right, and then let's hide all the back parts. Okay, so this is the front part of the ship. And as you can see, it's got its own propulsion. We worked on that last time. And the only kind of new thing I added was this front piece, because I like the pointed piece, but it was very classic spaceship. So I wanted to do something a little bit different. And so I added this different front part, and I also thought it'd be neat if this thing could launch some ships or something from the front, as well as the back. So here on the bottom, I created this one little ramp that is over here so that the spaceships could take off from here, the smaller kind of fighters or smaller spaceships. So this spaceship in this form can go shorter distances, but it's got kind of the booster pack that goes in the back, which is this, which makes it go further and also makes it, you know, maybe jump through different locations in space. And then once that's done, it will detach. This part will detach from it and go do the missions. These things here, they look like wings, but they're not. They're actually solar panels. And then I figured, since these are going to be in space, they don't really need to be connected, so this could be some sort of magnetic link, and then these basically detach on their own. I'm going to put some little jets on there, and they kind of reassemble into smaller bits, and then maybe they go into the spaceship itself somewhere. So they don't fold like I thought they would. They'll just detach and then assemble into the spaceship. Again, there's no real gravity in space, so these things can float around and kind of be attached via kind of more magnetic type of attachments. All right, so I'm still kind of doing a little bit of the modeling, and I'm going to be doing a lot more of that today, and possibly you know, ending it today. And if I do, then I'll start coloring it as well. So before I continue, any questions or anything? Angelo Bonavita, I'm not turning you off. Okay, thank you, I guess. And let's see, anybody else? It seems like no questions, so I'll go ahead and continue on. All right, so I kind of, you know, again, I didn't have this front part, and I'll go ahead and hide it. I didn't have this front part before on the spaceship, and I thought it kind of looked like it needed something over there. So I added these extra pieces in here to kind of make it look a little bit better. This kind of looks cool too, but I added a few more in front just to give it a little bit more of a you know, more of modern sci-fi type of look. And I kind of really, once I started doing that, I really liked how it was coming together, both in the connected form and also in the kind of solo form. I really kind of like how this is looking. It's reminiscent a little bit of the Halo spaceships, and also possibly the Sulaco, which again is one of my favorite spaceships of all time, ever made, designed by my good friend Sid Mead. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and go jump into, I don't think I need these many anymore. I can kind of shrink this down to maybe about 12. And so let's look at some kit bash parts. So one of the kit bash parts I'm using here is one called the City Kit. And I think you can find it on ArtStation and Gumroad and all that stuff. The thing I really like about this is that it's got low-res versions. So I'm going to go ahead and, let's see, do I need to use these kind of city-looking ones at all? Probably not. I'm going to hide them. Just kind of reduce the noise here, and let's see if I can find some pieces here to include. So these pieces are really nice because they, the City Kit is nice because they also include low-res, which I kind of like, because then you can choose different ones that will work better. So let's copy this, and let's go into our spaceship and paste it. Unify it so it fits within that space, and let's see, I was kind of thinking of putting this type of a thing maybe over here on the top, right? Maybe not as big, but again, since these are low res, I can mess them up pretty good and rescale them and do all sorts of tweaks to them, and they tend to work out good because again, I don't have any details that are getting distorted. So here I'm just going to kind of create something that looks more like a submarine top or kind of a command center. And notice here that even though I'm shrinking this, it's, let me turn transparency on so I can see the inside. So there are all these inside parts that I don't need, and I can very easily delete those. Since this is low res, I can delete these parts and not use them. So I could probably, there are edge loops that go through here that I can remove. Yeah. All right. So let's see how good this looks. Again, I'm looking at the whole spaceship as a whole, and that's looking okay. Duplicate it, put another one this way, see if that does anything to it. And again, repeating shapes, you want to change their repeating patterns. I don't know if that did much, so I'm just going to go back to the way it was. That's good. Let's go see if we can find another part to put in here. Maybe let's see, I kind of like this one. Copy. And I mentioned this, I think, last time. I try to use a lot of kit bash parts, but I also don't want them to look the way they are, just kind of out of the box. I mutilate them, change them around so that they look more or less like they belong in my scene. What happened here? Let's see. Let's unify this. And yep. Yeah, that looks really good. So let's see if I can. And it looks good shape-wise, but maybe not the way it is. So I'm going to just do this to it. Bring it down here this way. And yeah, so since this is low res, I can do this tweaking pretty fast. And I can also generate these things with a ZBrush. It's a pretty fast process to do it in ZBrush. So maybe this can go down here like that. And the things I pay attention to is where these are intersecting the main shape. Like I've got a lot of things to solve already. Like for example, this intersection here, it's kind of, it kind of looks like it doesn't really belong there. So I need to patch those up. And I'll probably do that with kit bash parts. But again, it depends on how close I look at this. But right now I'm really digging the shape of it a lot, so I probably will be spending a lot of time on this, getting it to look a little bit better. I like this over here a lot. Then let's move this one back to over here, and maybe take this one, rotate it this way. Now, I like playing with kit bash parts a lot because, you know, it's kind of like somebody mentioned earlier, like Legos. So they are kind of like Legos, but, you know, more, I guess, not restricted to the Lego structure. Let's see if we can move this over to here. Now this one's way too far. Kind of don't know if I should just remove this. I kind of like this back part. I mean, it is adding to it, but it's not. It's also detracting from it. Maybe I should just make it shorter and do this with it. Here we go. That's looking very submarine-like, but it's also looking very cool. And it's always good to add like antenna and stuff like that. And I've got a kit bash part for that as well. So one of the things I do is I go on ArtStation and get these kit bash kits. Things to do if you if you don't already, let me move this out of the way. If you don't already do it, you can wait for things to go on sale, and you can get these kit bash kits for very, you know, very few dollars, and they're super, super useful. All right, that's looking good. Again, I'm always checking the silhouette just to make sure I like it, and I do. One thing I'm kind of concerned about is the, again, these solar panels, but it's fine. I think it looks okay. And again, I'm thinking of this like if it was in a movie or a game. If you saw it from far away, would you recognize what it is? And I think for the most part you can. The problem with the wings, and I'll tell you the thing that's bothering me about it, is that it's kind of messing up the silhouette a little bit. So here, if I hide them, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. I think, is it this one? Yeah. So you can see here that it's got this kind of cool silhouette that bends down, and it's got this area where the ships can launch from and whatnot. So when I turn the wings back on, or the solar panels back on, it kind of creates this weird little chink over there. And I'd like to see if there's a way I can move these into a different location so that they kind of don't bother the silhouette of the spaceship as much. Perspective on, I do. Let's see if it looks any. Yeah, it looks better without perspective, but with perspective on, it definitely kind of makes a bit of a difference. All right, so let's shrink that back down and get back to doing the shape. All right. Let's see. I got a couple of questions. Does it matter if the different subtools have different subdivision levels or Dynamesh resolution? Croesus, it doesn't matter. You can have, and all these different subtools can be different resolutions, different. Some could be Dynamesh, some could be, you know, like really janky CAD stuff. It doesn't matter. As you can see here, the main part of the spaceship that we worked on initially, that's pretty high resolution, so we get that surface detail. And the thing is that, you know, another thing I noticed also is that I had a lot of surface detail, and I wanted to break that up with more kind of flowing simple shapes. So that's why I balanced it out with. So now you can see that this does have some detailed shape to it, but it also has some kind of clean areas as well. So, all right. And again, it's kind of really cool because I really like it the way it looks this way, but when I add the back, it kind of adds a whole other type of coolness to it as well. So the silhouette this way looks really cool to me. All right, so the other thing I wanted to do here, I did it up top, is kind of create some caps for these areas so that they work. So for that, let's go into this kit bash set, maybe this one, and see if there are any parts that could fit there. I see a few that can. Again, it's so refreshing to get these like low-res versions of these buildings. And if you guys don't know, I wrote an article in, I think it was Imagine FX magazine. Yeah, it was Imagine FX, where I have an IMM brush that has a whole bunch of buildings. I could use that too, I guess, if I wanted to. Let's copy this, go to our spaceship and paste it. So we're at about 100 subtools now, which is not bad. And it'll be less once I start kind of merging some of these together. So let's paste this and unify it. Yeah, but what I was saying earlier is that there's an article I wrote for Imagine FX magazine, which I think you can still get older copies of if you actually want the issue. But also with it, you can download a IMM brush, a ZBrush IMM brush that's just buildings, and another one that's mechs, and they're very low resolution, which is kind of cool, and I talk about why that is in the article. So definitely read the article if you can get to it as well. And so yeah, it was a project that I did with a friend of mine, a co-teacher at Art Center, where we basically created a model and rendered it in black and white, and then he did a very cool paint over on it. So yeah, and if you guys are interested, I can look it up and figure out what issue it was and all that. I think it was a couple of years ago. All right, so that's looking good over there. It's kind of breaking this up. I kind of want it to be wider. I want it to kind of, yeah, here we go, to break up that edge. Maybe a little bit longer as well. Also, since we started this meeting a bit late, I'm okay with going on a little bit longer as well, just to kind of make up the time. I don't know what time it is where you are, but hopefully it's not too late. So here I'm kind of worried about this intersection, but again, since it's low res, I can easily fix that. And actually, I'm going to do that right now. Polyframe, and let's see, can I solve this with the zero mesher? Maybe. Let me just solo. Okay, so I'm going to split these into separate parts. Hopefully it's not going to be too many. Nope. Should have just done split mass points. Split mass points. All right, that's exactly what I wanted. And now I'm going to turn on symmetry and QMesh. Smaller brush size, and let's just get rid of some of these kind of polygons over here. So this is what I mean about, like, you know, using, if it's something is low res, you can do all this kind of stuff to it and completely change it up. So it doesn't look like, you know, the standard kit bash part. All right. Croesus, you're mentioning you'd love to see that. Are you talking about the article that is in Imagine FX? If you just, I think if you just do, if you Google Imagine FX and my first and last name, I'm sure it'll come up. All right, let's see. And then I think the rest I can do with the clip brushes. Let's see what this looks like already. Whoa. And my file's getting pretty heavy. I actually changed up the autosave so it's not as frequent. My file's getting pretty heavy because I've got all the kit bash parts in here, and which I will get rid of before I continue working on it, because I don't really need it. All right, where is the pivot for this? There it is. Let's get it on the object. And let's turn off symmetry, center it, and let's do that. That's perfect. Now I really have to figure out what to do with this bottom one so it works. Right, I think this might look better if it was completely the other way around. All right. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to pause for a minute and I will be right back. So I'll be right back. Sorry about that. All right. Right, and I gotta figure out something to put back here. Let's see. Oh, it's doing its save, so it's starting to get really hot here in Southern California. Yeah, Croesus, we're going to have a bunch of renders, not just one. I'm going to have multiple renders of it. But yeah, me too. It's always kind of like that's the, you know, it's kind of a good part, but it's also a sad part because that's when the project is done. All right, it's saving it. It's not crashing. It just is taking a little bit of a longer time because of all the different kit bash parts I've got loaded in, which I will unload as time goes on. So if you guys have any questions, this would be a good time to ask. Here we go. All right, so what part do we want for that back part? Maybe we can add, maybe I can add one of these guys right here. So I'm going to copy that. Now the thing is that there's really detailed versions of these city pieces as well, and I could put those in later on if I want to. Right, there we are. Paste. Unify. And here we go. And let's kind of make it asymmetrical by doing this. And doing this. All right, let's see if that kind of looks good silhouette wise. It sure does. As a matter of fact, it looks so good, I'm going to add another one in the back. but make it smaller. And let's see, did that work well? I mean, I definitely need to have one of these in the back, but I don't really know if I need one. Or I mean, yeah, in the front. Let's see. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. But I'm going to do something weird with it here. I'm just going to split these up. And which one is this one? I'm going to mirror and weld it. Just kind of so it looks like this. And then with this one, I mirror it and mirror and weld it. So it's, nope. I'm just going to mirror and weld it because it's on the other side. No, why is it doing that? Let's see, mirror, mirror and weld. Yep, that's what I wanted. Okay, so now it's the same part, but it looks a little bit different because I mirrored one side to the other. I mean, I did introduce symmetry, but it kind of works out. So that's the bottom part, and let's see here. I kind of wanted to do something with this front over here too, but it's looking okay. Maybe kind of put something in the middle over there. All right. What we got going on here? I'm looking for something that can go horizontal. Maybe this one. Okay, let's copy it. Paste. Unify. And all right, so with this one, I want it to be wide, so I'm just going to solo it here. And let's get out of perspective, and I'm going to use extender to extend it. Something like that. And let's move it into place. Obviously not that wide. Let's see if this does. Oh, I'm just going to make it smaller. There, that's kind of what I want, but not as, maybe a little bit longer. So I use the extender to extend it one way, but I'm also going to use extender to extend it the other way as well. And let's go. So you can see I'm using that kit bash part, but it looks nothing like what it started out as, right? And that's kind of the goal, is to not be basically just using kit bash parts as they are, but modify them just a little bit. Now that created all this kind of space over here, which is cool because I can add a whole other part in there. But let me make this kind of work the way I wanted it to, like just go here, like that. And let's see if there's a part here that would work. Kind of like this part. It's perfect. So I'll copy it. Paste. I also wanted to mention that last time some of you folks liked my color scheme, and I was going to share it. I didn't have time to post it, but I will be posting it soon. You can look for it probably either in the notes here or maybe in the notes of the presenter page. So let me unify this thing. So it'll either be on the presenter page, my presenter page, or it'll be or in the notes of the streams, or both. I'm going to try and put it in as many places as possible, but it's almost done. It's a CFG file, pretty straightforward. All right, so this can gonna go here, but I want it to be upside down. Come on. Maybe something like that. All right. Right, so let's see. This front part looks okay. I don't need to mess any with that. How about the back? This looks good too. I think I could put a couple of different things up here. Maybe you can just extend these pieces. So let me go to that part. Solo it out. Mask all of it, except the top part here. And let's see if I can move this back like so. Nope. Not that much, but maybe about like there. That looks okay. And now. I think it looks best just kind of straight out like that. Okay. And that definitely adds to the silhouette of the spaceship as well. All right, so we're getting closer and closer to being done with the modeling here. Just need to put some nice detailing on here. And there was a kit bash kit that I got, which is this one, which are vehicle parts. And this has a lot of really cool stuff that can go on spaceships. I really like this piece. I'll be using that probably. The belt buckle one's kind of neat. If it didn't have this middle part, that would be cooler. But again, see, these are CAD parts, so they're going to be harder to manipulate, right? So you can see here that they're not sub-D, they're CAD, but it's fine. We can still kind of use extender, use some different ways of being able to use these. All right, so let's find a nice antenna dish and put it on there. Let's see. I'll definitely be using this this piece too. Like, there's a lot of really good pieces here, and they're going to be really small, so I don't mind that they are going to be showing. Let's start with not that one. This is one of those kits where you want to use all the parts. All right, here we go. This one right here. Okay, so let's select that one. So this one has multiple pieces on it, so I need to use my kit bash duplicate. Geez. Here we go. Select it. It'd help if it was on that subtool. These are in 3 different subtools. Okay, there it is. I think I got a little bit of another thing here. Let me just redo it. Okay, that's exactly what I wanted. So kit bash duplicate, and back to here, paste. Let's unify that. All right. Now let's see if there's anything I can do to this to make it any more interesting. I mean, it's a pretty neat part. So the answer is probably going to be no, but let's see. There might be some things I could do to it. Kind of like this front antenna, so maybe I'll make it longer. And maybe I'll make this back part wider. All right, so it kind of has a fatter part that comes to, oh no, that didn't work. I think it didn't work because of, let's see, let's try it again. So over to here. Yeah, it's not very symmetrical, so that's not gonna do it. All right, this is good enough. All right, so let's see where we can put this on the spaceship. Again, I probably want this to be smaller. Let's unmask that. And this looks like it'd look cool on the bottom, like so. Like that. Now another thing also is it's always interesting to see if you know, you can get any repeating action out of something like this that would make it look good. I think it's still too big, maybe a bit smaller like that. Put it there. All right, and then we can just array mesh it. And let's kind of do a Z offset in this direction. And let's see what happens if we put 4 of them, or maybe 3. Here we go. That works. All right, so let's make mesh, copy that, and what if we did this? Copy it this way. Split mask points. And let's mirror and weld that, put one on the other side. So I'm just trying to see if, like, if I have this kind of thing going on at the bottom of the spaceship, if it makes it look interesting. And I kind of like it. I kind of like that it has these different probes, and maybe this is what it uses to kind of look at the surface of the planets that it's exploring. I think I can, let's see, symmetry on, nope, let's turn it on, and maybe I can rotate these more like that. Make sure that the planes align. All right, that works. Works great, actually. I really am digging how this is looking. And let's go find some other parts to bring in. I haven't been paying attention to the questions, If they swept backwards, contrasting forward looking wings. I'm always willing to try something different, so let's see if that is the case. Right, so let's just kind of have these go the other, well, I'll try these ones. Let's see if they work. Unfortunately, these are all going into the back part, which is not what I want to do. So let me move them into the front. These ones too. And I think these ones might be a good one. So I'll hide the ones that we're on, the side ones. And let's see if your suggestion will work. So what you're suggesting is have these be pointing backwards like this. Yeah, kind of like the more pointing forwards, but I see the kind of the point you're making too. Maybe we can do that with something else. All right, let's move on to some other parts here. Let's delete this thing. Okay, and let's look at these kit bash parts. This one right here is pretty neat. Let's try and use this one. Kit bash duplicate. And paste. And unify. Now the problem with also these CAD parts is that they're very crash prone, like they will make ZBrush crash or whatever you're using crash. So it's always kind of, you know, I will zero mesh some of them that I need to do certain things to, but let's see if this looks cool, like over here somewhere. But right in the front. I like it over here, so I'm going to use extender. So let's solo this out so you can get a better look at it. Extender, and let's move that center back to somewhere where it makes more sense. Maybe right about over here. Let's see if that works good. Yeah, that works fine. All right. Jam this in like that. And what's cool is it added this kind of interesting wing thing over here as well. It's messing the silhouette up a bit. Try moving it back to here. I'm going to undo the extender part and just move it back like so. If I put this on top, oh, autosave again. All right, so let's see other questions. All right, anybody have any questions while this is kind of taking its doing its save? After this is done, what I'll do is I'm going to change the timing of the autosave so it's not as frequent. I did it before, I just didn't save the interface. So I'll do that right now. Oh, extender is awesome. Extenders, I use extender all the time. Yeah. I mean, I could hit escape. It did save earlier, but I think we almost got done. So let me do this real quick, though. Quick save. So if it is saving, I'm going to change this to 30, which is usually what the default that I have, but I think I went back to earlier interface for some reason. Let's do this, preferences, and then let's say this rest duration, let's make that 30 minutes as well. Okay, so maximum duration, let's make that 45. All right, here we go. So we're good now. And let me just save these preferences just for kicks. Store config, we are good to go. All right, so back to where we were, trying to figure out a good place for this. How about if we do the other thing, put it at the bottom. Whoa, where'd that angle happen? There we go, let's just put this here, move this to the bottom, like so. Not at this angle. Okay, let's angle it up. And move it forward. All right, that looks okay. I think that'll work. All right, let's go find some other parts. Like I said, there's a lot of really great parts in this one. So we're going to be using quite a few of them. Yep, I kind of like this one. I'm going to find a few places to use it. This big tank looking thing. Guess I should be on that subtool. It's so funny, for fireworks not happening over the 4th of July weekend. Not only have they happened, but they're still happening. All right, kit bash duplicate. Can still hear them going on in the background. Okay, and then paste it. All right, and I don't like the way this is the way it is, so I'm going to go ahead and do the extender trick with it. And with the extender, I'm going to move this up to about here. Maybe that's too much. There, that's good. So now it looks like it did, but it's a little bit different. And then, all right, let's see where we can put this. And again, it doesn't really have to be that big. Where is the gizmo? I guess I could just do this. Come on, where is the gizmo? Try this one more time. Come on, dot. All right, this is really strange. I'm not getting my gizmo. Let me move to, here we go, there it is, and now where is it? Ah, here we go. All right, let's just do this and this, and make it smaller. Maybe we can put this over here in the back. This is like some sort of a tank or something. There's a nice platform for it over here. That looks good. Now the other thing that's also nice to I'm going to give it a try here. Let me solo this out. In addition to the extender, taper is nice too, so you can do some interesting things here, like you can create a shape like that instead. Now this looks totally different than what it looked like before, so I'm going to do that. All right, so see, I'm using the same, I'm using kit bash parts, but again, they're not really being used the way they're made. I'm definitely modifying them and changing them up. Just a little bit of those feet like that. That's good. I like that in one way, and I don't in another. I don't like the fact that it's kind of adding a little bit of detail to the silhouette. Let's see. With it on and with it off. I guess it's not making that big of a difference, so we'll leave it there. And I'm going to have this be asymmetrical. Just put one there that way, and then I'm going to duplicate this. So, oops, I'm not going to duplicate that. I'm going to duplicate this one and leave it there, but the old one I'm going to move over . Here and undo all the things that I did to it to this point and put it over somewhere else. See what would be a good place for it. And again, I'm always thinking of functionality. I'm always thinking like, what would these things be used for? So I've got one on the back part of the ship, so maybe I'll put one in the front, and maybe this goes here in the back like so. I'll try and make this bigger, see if it makes a big difference, and like pop it over here. No, it's not working for me. How about if it goes this way? My neighbor's dog says hi. All right, maybe about there. And for this one, oops, where'd it go? There we go. Push it in that way. All right, so that looks good. And also kind of removed the kit bash element here and made it look a little bit different. So I'm really digging how that looks. That looks really cool. Let's find another element. Turn up the music a little bit here. Let me move on to song. All right. All right, let's see. I've got some questions here. So somebody was asking about Unify. Yeah, what Unify does, and I'll talk about it more when I do my next piece. But yeah, Unify basically just makes something the default size of ZBrush's UI. Let's move over to this tool, select this. Kit bash duplicate. So kit bash duplicate, what it does is it basically makes a copy of this and then unifies it. So makes it unified in this space. However, when I go into something else, it might be a different scale. So here, when I paste it, you can see where it kind of is complete. You know, I don't even know. The size is really big. I don't know where it is in relationship to the spaceship or anything like that. So when I click Unify, it basically brings it into the same space as the spaceship itself. So here I can see that it brought it in and did this to it. So again, it's of course too big. So what I'm going to do here is just make it smaller. So it does bring it to the center of the world, I guess, yes, but it also changes the scale of it to fit ZBrush's kind of unified space of 2 by 2 by 2. All right, let's see if this can go somewhere around here. I'm going to do my best not to have it be like the Sulaco where you have a bunch of these things poking out. Now with this, I don't really like this handle piece. Let's see, is it a separate piece that I can get rid of? Yeah, it is. So here, cool, I can do it. So I'm going to go to ZModeler. And delete and island. Yep, so that's not there anymore, which is good. And then also this kind of swirly part in the front here, I don't like that either. So what I'm going to do is, again, use ZModeler. So let me just solo this out so I can do all this stuff here. And so again, you can kind of see how I'm not really using kit bash parts as they are, but definitely modifying them. So here, let me go to select rectangle, select these pieces right here, or deselect them, I guess, should be a better way to say that. Like so. Delete hidden, they're gone. And then what I want to do is I want to join these two up. So I'm going to use the bridge function. Bridge two holes, this edge to this edge right here. Let's see if that does it. Nope. This thing is still on delete island, so do nothing. There we go. So let's go from edge here to an edge here. Let's see. Make sure that, okay, so that's hidden. Should work. So this edge, I'll make sure I didn't inadvertently add an edge inside the object. It happens sometimes. And just pick this edge right here. Okay, it says now drag to the second one. It could be any one of these. Here we go. This is what I wanted. Okay, and that's maybe too many spans. So unfortunately you can't modify that after the fact. You have to do it when you do the connection. So I'm going to do this slowly. First edge, second edge. All right, here we go. And then maybe add this many spans right here. All right, and then let's make it all one polygroup. So now it doesn't have that weird swirly thing in the front. And then, yeah, so this is exactly what I wanted. And so let's kind of bring the spaceship back. Maybe this is like another antenna that goes here. Like about there. And then let's kind of move it off center. Wonder what two of them will look like. Yeah, that looks neat. All right, digging that. All right, I think as far as antennas are concerned, I need to add one. I want to add one more. So let's go and find one. See, these are like building tips that I'm using as antennas. So these are like tips of buildings in the city kit, but I'm completely using them for a different purpose. Copy. All right. Let's unify this thing. Smaller and make it go in there. All right, so that's looking okay. I think I need some of those up here too. So I'm going to take that exact same piece and copy it. Make it a lot smaller. So these kind of tertiary forms really add more to the spaceship as a whole, and this part is really fun to do. But again, none of this would work if I didn't have my primary shapes working. Maybe do some things to this one where it's a little bit different. So maybe select these parts. Bigger. Put that separately. I'm slowly messing up this other part of mine. Let's get this all the way back and separate them out. And this is the one I want to change. maybe I can use QMesh. Oh, I see. I'm doing, okay, do nothing for polygon. No, I want to QMesh with polygon. And I want to do this. And then this again, inset it. Go. Close that up and close that up. I mean, there's different, there probably was an easier way of doing this, but I just wanted to do this to it. All right, and there's that piece. So again, it's the same one as this one, but I made some modifications to it, so they look totally different. All right. Starting to come together. All right, let's go find some other parts to put in here. Delete. Okay. I really love this antenna right here. I want to find a place for it. I think this is one of my favorite kit bash parts, or kit bash kits, because it's got a lot of really neat parts to it. Okay, copy. Oh, wait. Kit bash duplicate. All right, let's see, somebody said something here. Okay, so some questions here. How are you? Sorry, I was working and no. How did you make the hanger tab menu with the kit bash parts? I'm not I'm not really sure what you mean. Can you ask again? My beard is epic. Thank you. Yeah, this is my Corona beard. It's since I don't have to go out much, I tend to spend more time working than shaving. Right. But yeah, can you ask me that question that you meant about the how did I make the hanger? Is what you're asking? Is the hanger down here? Is that what you're asking, or the front part? Are you asking about this part, or are you asking about this part? Did I paste that part in already? Nope. Let's do it. Time paste. F A unify. With this paste, I'm going to create a one that does the paste and the unify in one shot. So I will do that at some point here. And also somebody had asked if I'm going to make kit bash duplicate available, and I probably will. I'm looking at ways of doing that, maybe making some sort of a kit bash kit and having that be part of it and having it for like a nominal fee on Gumroad or something, but I'm still looking into it. I just want to, I don't have a kind of a beta test mechanism, so I want to make sure that it's working. And that way, once I'm happy with it, then's when I will post it. All right, so let's say I do this, kind of just jam this at the bottom of this, like that. It's way too big. It's kind of a cool element. I mean, it works, the scaling works, but it's still way too big. Again, the spaceship does not have to be aerodynamic because it's in space, but still. Adds a little bit of interest here to the silhouette. That looks good. And I don't really, let me see if I can make any modifications to this to break it up. See what extender does to it. Oh yeah, that's kind of a cooler looking thing. We'll go with that for sure. All right, yeah, we're getting closer. The only thing I got to worry about is the connections of where the kit bash parts are connecting. I mean, most of them are doing okay. Like this last one I added works really good, but this tube right here, excuse me, you can kind of see that it's not fitting in with the other parts. So I need to create some sort of junction there that would make that work. I also need to put some detail into these solar panels. I'll do that too. Also from last time I changed the hinges to these. I thought these looked a little bit better. Which is a good part to talk about, is like if you want things to move correctly, you just hold Alt down and put the gizmo where you want it to be. So now it's where I want it to be, so now I can move it around. All right, how are we doing on time? Wow, we're almost at 9 o'clock. But like I said, since I started later today, I will also end a little bit later as well. So so we got another maybe half an hour or so left. All right. In time, maybe a little bit longer. I don't know. So it's kind of good to take a quick look and see if things are working, if things need to be added in certain places. I want to add something long going this way. All right, let's go see if we can find another part. This one was really cool. I love this part. So we'll definitely I like this part too. All right, let's use that part. Right, and then let's move over here and paste it. Unify. All right, so I can do some extender stuff with this too. Like maybe, let's see, what's a good place for it? It is a bit asymmetrical. Let's put this in the center. So that looks okay like that. All right, so I want to get that 90-degree angle. There we go. I think this might be it. Make this smaller. Oh yeah, there's something funky with this thing right here. I gotta fix it. Looks good over there, but I gotta fix something with this part right here. So low. See this little piece right here? Yeah, that doesn't look good. But it's fine on this side, so I'll just see, mirror and weld. Nope. Other way. Another thing I'm going to write is a little macro that does mirror and then mirror and weld. It does both of them together. There's that. Okay. That's good for now. I got to do something about this part right here on the bottom. Let's go back to this. Looks good, and then this has this part over here which I can attach something to, so maybe I can attach, go back here, let's find something interesting. Let's go back to here. I'm sure there'll be something in here to do it. Delete this one. I'm looking for something that would fit that area. This looks interesting. Let's do this piece. I think I used this kit bash kit in my last series, or my last episodes, where I used these in the car as well. But where is that piece that I was looking at? I think it's this one right here. All right, let's get an angle where I can grab it. Paste, unify. I want to do some modifications to this thing to make it be completely different. So first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to mirror and weld it in the Z direction. What did that do? Nothing. Maybe maybe it's the X direction. Let's see. Yeah, that's not what I wanted. Oh, actually, that wasn't bad. No. Yeah, this is more like it. But there. Okay, and then I don't really need this back part here, so I'm gonna do my delete island. Delete. And these guys either. And then, yeah, this could, is this its own thing? It is. I don't need that either. All right. So now I need to plug this into that part area. I feel like I'm in an old sci-fi movie with all this kit bashing. Thinking that would go over here like so. There. All right. Let's look at the whole thing. That added an interesting bit of kind of thing, asymmetry over there. And maybe I can do something else here with this. Let me try using extender with it. There, that makes it more substantial. And maybe that's like, you know, something that will release things into the air or whatever. All right. Okay, I think I had a bunch of questions come in here. So, no, the importing, see my mistake. Okay. No, this ship does not land. It's only spaceborne, right? So what we're going to do, I'll do that real quick too. What we're going to do is we're going to have this ship be, there's going to be multiple renders of it. So we have renders where it shows the inside. And I don't know if you guys watched that episode, but we had previous episodes where we did the inside parts of it. But yeah, it's going to be in a space station. So it's going to have a station like this. And then there's going to be a bunch of robots kind of building it and doing stuff to it. So here's all kind of the construction robots around it. So we're going to have a render where it's being built, right? And then we're going to have another render. This looks better with perspective on. And then we're going to have another render with it in space. We're going to have another render with it, you know, separating out and all that good stuff. So yeah, this thing was built in space. So completely 100% built in space. It doesn't land on a planet. And also, if it is in space and it is doing its work, if it needs to land somewhere, let's see, how many nanos are still on? Because I have them on. Okay. And there will be smaller spaceships that come out of here and maybe possibly here that land on wherever it needs to land on. So yeah, no landing for this guy. It's going to be in space forever. Okay, how did I achieve the micro detailing? Skull Senpai is asking. So you're talking about this detail over here, the greebles, these things. I did that in episode 1 and 2. You can watch and see that. I did that with alphas, and it's pretty fast and easy process. So lots of times. Okay, let's see. That lucky. Oh, yeah. I don't know what you're asking. That lucky 9 guy or 13 guy. Okay, so. I don't know what you're meaning about the straight line, and then is that on this channel? Yeah. So Senpai, you're asking. Let me just tell you real quick. So if you go to ZBrushLive.com, so ZBrushLive.com, just one word, right? If you go to that page, you land on this home page, right? So that's basically you land here on the home page, but then there's this menu on top, and which is showing me right now, which is funny. If you go to presenters, then you basically will see all the different presenters in this list, and I'm in it, right? So you can just scroll down to my name, about halfway down, and then if you click on my icon here, it takes you to my page, and then if you scroll down, these are the different episodes. So here's kind of the first episode, and then this is the second episode. And by the way, these are all going to be changed. This is season 3. So season 2 was this this spinner flying car that we did, but in season 3 it's a spaceship. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think this is the 7th episode. I don't know, maybe it's not on here. So that's where you can see the previous episodes. Or another thing you can do is you can go to ZBrush or Pixologic's YouTube channel, right? And then you can look for playlists, and I think I'm one of the playlists somewhere in here. Hang on, I'm gonna change this chiptune music to something else. All right, here we go. And here I am. So if you look at my full playlist, here are all the different episodes, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so we did 6 before, and then today is going to be the 7th episode, right? So, and this one will probably also go to about 10. Hopefully we can end it by that time. So hopefully that answers your question. Skull Senpai, awesome name. All right, and then let's see here. All right. All right, let's start working on the wings a little bit. Let's kind of do something different. It's always kind of good to not be doing the same thing for a long time, because things tend to be repetitive. So let's solo that out. So you can see this is very few polygons. And what I want to do again is separate these out into their own pieces. So I'm going to delete half of it. I don't need to see all this thing while I'm working. I guess turn symmetry off. And they'll just make things a little bit faster. And also, since it's a big thing, it doesn't obstruct the view. And I've got different areas in the middle here that can probably just Q-mesh through. Let's see. Probably Q-mesh through right here, but they'll get rid of that too. So that's fine. All right, let's do that. So Q-mesh. Nope, didn't go through. Why is that? Let's try going from this angle out. No. My other recourse is to go in this way. Yep, that did it. And this way. Oops, went too far. One more. Here we go. All right, so now that's a separate piece, and then we're going to do the same thing here. And for this one, I don't know if I need that wide of a thing, so I'm just going to add an edge loop here. Insert edge loop. Nope. like about there, and then let's just get rid of this guy and this guy. All right, so now I've got this in 3 separate pieces, which is what I want. Maybe this one too. Nope, did not go through. Come at it from this angle. Oops. And that'll work. Here we go. All right, so now that we have this, you can see now these are different pieces, and these basically, again, like I said, they're in space, so they just fold up. They don't fold up, they just detach, and then they kind of fit somewhere in the spaceship, or on the bottom somewhere. All right, it's doing its autosave. I'm gonna hit escape, even though I wish it should be saving. Oh man, I hit escape. I hope it doesn't crash it. If it does, it's your fault, one of these guys. All right, so let's see. Skull Senpai has some questions. Yeah, hard surface in ZBrush is one of those things where I think people don't think it's possible. It's very possible, and you can do some amazing things with hard surface in ZBrush. More so than any other program I've worked with, really. All right, I think this is, I don't know if it's going to save or not save, but we're going to let it go for a while. I don't want to crash it because I did quite a bit of stuff since the last save. So if you guys have last questions, how long are we doing on time? We got about 15 minutes left. That's great. And then I'll hopefully I'll get some more free time these next 2 weeks so I can completely finish the modeling. Because I'm just doing the same things over and over again. I mean, I'm sure it's fun to watch, but I'm sure you guys would want to see different things. So next week we'll start painting it. Here we go. Next week we'll start painting it. I might take certain pieces of it into Substance Painter too. I haven't decided yet. So let's do the same thing we did up onto that part to this one. So long. And notice here, I'm not really shy about, deleting some stuff, and then, because I can always get it back. So delete hidden. Again, the angle that I came at it from, let's see if QMesh works this way. It does. All right, so that did that. For this one, we didn't really want that wide of a break, maybe about there. I'm thinking of doing an online course for hard surface in ZBrush. I've had enough people ask me about it, so I might do one. I might just do like I don't know what way would be the best way to do it. But, start from the fundamentals and basics and just go through the whole thing. Oh, man. It's one polygon here. All right, delete single poly. I didn't want to do that. Let's see, what's the best way to... I guess this didn't QMesh right over here. Let's do it again. All right. Add another edge loop here. Let's see if that helps. Problem is that a lot of people for hard surface, they kind of, like some people on the stream here, or somebody will always say, well, you know, I use 3ds Max, or I use this other thing for hard surface. ZBrush isn't for hard surface, this, that, and the other. And I don't know if they're looking at what I'm doing or what, but I can do hard surface stuff pretty easily in ZBrush. Okay, so this one's being a little bit more stubborn, but we'll figure it out. With QMesh, you just have to get it at the right angle, and it'll work like a charm. Slap it in this way. Nope. Well, worst case scenario, what I can do is just delete these. Oh, that's why it's not working. Well, QMesh isn't working, but I'm not on QMesh. I'm on delete poly, so that's pretty funny. Let's try this again. Yeah, that worked, but maybe I don't need that much of it gone. Here we go. There and there. Okay. And then last but not least, we'll do this one here. So I'm going to add an edge loop, about that much. Okay, cool. So here we got this now going on. Let's mirror weld that. Okay, so now I basically have these separated out the way I want them to. And I don't know if I'm going to have like a scene or something where these are separated out, but if they ever want to make a movie with this thing, then the effects house will have to figure out how to do that part. But it shouldn't be that hard. And maybe they kind of slap to these sides over here. I mean, there's enough space in the spaceship to house these pieces. Okay. Yeah, ZModeler definitely. I mean, hard surface, it's all about ZModeler. ZModeler is the hard surface kind of magician feature. All right, let's see. How are we doing on time? I think we're doing okay. I think I'm going to stop it here and see if you guys have any last-minute questions. And we can just end it here. So anybody have any last-minute questions or things you want to ask? I'll wait a few minutes just in case there's a delay. I don't think there was any. Was there anybody on Facebook here? Nope. Didn't get a single thing from Facebook. I need to advertise this more on Facebook. There's a bunch of my Facebook friends that will probably have appreciated it if I let them know. All right. All right, we'll just kind of make this the ending shot. And Croesus was asking about the UI color. So yeah, I will be sharing that. So here under preferences, if I go to iColor, I think iColor is there is a way for me to save this. I don't know if it saves my UI as well, but there is definitely a way to save it. So if I go to iColors here, I can save and load UI colors. So I will do that. And I will share that file with you guys. So keep an eye out for it. By next time, I'll definitely have a link to it, but it's probably either going to be in my presenter page or in the notes, but I will definitely make it available to you. Okay. All right. Oh yeah, there's a few people on Facebook. Okay, cool. Cool. Thanks, Ezra. All right, folks, so have a good night, morning, wherever you are. Stay safe, and we will see you in a couple of weeks, Friday night, same time, and all. All right? Thanks a lot for watching again, and bye-bye.